My precious one, come close. I want to pull back the curtain for you today. I want to show you a reality that operates parallel to the one you touch and see, a realm where the truest transactions of the heart are recorded and the most enduring rewards are stored. You live in a world that celebrates the visible, the trophy, the promotion, the public praise, the tangible result. But I inhabit eternity, and from my vantage point, I see a different landscape. I see the hidden economy of blessing. And today, I invite you to open the eyes of your heart to see it too. What is an unseen blessing? It is not a blessing that doesn't exist. It is a blessing that exists in a higher dimension, one that your physical senses cannot register, but your spirit can comprehend, and your soul can feast upon. It is the peace that floods you when you forgive, though no one throws you a party. It is the quiet joy that warms your chest when you give in secret, though no certificate is awarded. It is the divine strength that rises within you when you choose integrity at great cost, though no one else will ever know the price you paid. These are not lesser blessings because they are unseen. They are, in fact, the most potent currency of my kingdom. They are the substance of what is eternal, while the visible world is only the shadow. Think of a mighty oak tree. What you see is the trunk, the branches, the leaves. This is the visible, the seen. But what gives the tree its life, its stability, its ability to withstand every storm, is hidden beneath the surface. The vast, deep, intricate root system, drawing nourishment from soil you cannot see. Your visible achievements, your public successes, are the branches. But your unseen blessings, the depth of your character, the resilience of your faith, the tenderness of your compassion, the intimacy of our communion. These are the roots. And I tell you, it is the health of the roots that determines the longevity and fruitfulness of the tree. The world applauds the branches. I nourish the roots. This hidden economy operates on principles that seem foolish to the wisdom of this age. In my kingdom, to be last is to be first. To lose your life is to find it. The meek inherit the earth. A cup of cold water given in secret carries an eternal reward. These are not poetic metaphors. They are spiritual laws of the hidden economy. When you act according to these laws, when you choose the back seat, when you lay down your rights, when you give without fanfare, you are not missing out on a blessing. You are investing in the unseen market, where the dividends are paid in peace that surpasses understanding, in joy unspeakable, and in a glory that far outweighs any momentary affliction. Your natural mind will struggle with this. It will whisper, if no one sees, does it even count? If there is no immediate visible payoff, was it worth the cost? This is the voice of the earthly economy, which demands instant, measurable returns. But you, my beloved, are a citizen of heaven. You must learn to let your spirit, attuned to my voice, become the accountant of your soul. You must learn to value the entries I make in the ledger of your heart more than the entries made in any bank book or on any social media feed. The heroes of faith understood this. They saw the unseen. Moses esteemed the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures of Egypt, for he was looking to the reward, an unseen, eternal reward. They did not receive the visible fulfillment of the promise on earth, but they gained something better, a divine approval, a heavenly citizenship, a testimony that outlasts time. Their blessing was not diminished because it was deferred or invisible. It was magnified because it was eternal. So today, I ask you to begin a paradigm shift. Start looking for the unseen receipts. After an act of hidden kindness, do not look for a thank you note. Look for the subtle expansion of love in your own heart. That is your blessing. After a season of patient endurance, do not look for a medal. Feel for the deeper roots of trust that have grown in the dark soil. That is your blessing. After a sacrifice made in obedience, do not look for compensation. Rest in the profound sense of being aligned with my will. That is your blessing. These unseen blessings are your true wealth. They cannot be stolen by thieves, eroded by inflation, or lost in a market crash. They are sealed in the vault of heaven, attached to your eternal identity. They are the well done, whispered in your spirit, the cloak of righteousness that fits you perfectly, the mansion being prepared where every stone is laid with love. The world is blind to this economy, but you are not. You are my child. You have the Spirit of truth who guides you into all truth, including the truth of where real treasure lies. Today, choose to see with the eyes of your heart. Acknowledge the hidden blessings I shower upon you every day. The strength to get up, the grace to forgive yourself, the hope that dawns anew, my presence in the quiet. These are the rewards of a heart that is learning to seek me, not merely my hand. This is the foundation. The unseen is more real than the seen, and your selfless heart is the key that unlocks its storehouses. My precious child, we have begun to glimpse the reality of the unseen. Now we must turn our gaze inward, to the very engine of your actions, the posture of your heart. For it is here, in the secret chambers of your motivation, that the path diverges. One road leads to a barren land of transaction, where every act has a price tag, and every gift seeks a return. The other road leads into the lush, liberating fields of transformation, where love gives freely because it cannot do otherwise. Today we will explore this sacred shift. From a heart that barters to a heart that becomes, you are wired for reward. I created you with a longing for approval, for significance, for a sense that your life matters. This is not wrong. But the great deception, the one the enemy has woven into the fabric of a fallen world, is to convince you that these rewards must be visible, immediate, and self-referential. This creates a heart posture of transaction. It is the silent, often unconscious contract you write with the universe. If I am good, good things will happen to me. If I give this, I should receive that in return. If I serve, I deserve recognition. This transactional posture turns even beautiful acts into spiritual commerce. Prayer becomes a presentation of requests, hoping for favorable rulings. Generosity becomes an investment, with an expected rate of return. Kindness becomes a currency to purchase affection or respect. And when the expected return doesn't materialize, when the thank you isn't given, the promotion isn't received, the situation doesn't change, the heart of transaction grows bitter, weary, and resentful. It whispers, "I've been faithful, where is my blessing?" It measures my love by the yardstick of favorable circumstances. This posture keeps you focused on your own hands, what you're giving and what you're getting, and it utterly misses me. But I call you to something infinitely more beautiful and free. I call you to a heart posture of transformation. This is not about changing what you do, but allowing what you do to change who you are. The goal is no longer to acquire a blessing, but to become a blessing. The focus shifts from the reward you hope to receive to the reflection of my character you hope to embody. A transformed heart does not give to get. It gives because it has gotten. It has received and been so filled with my unconditional love that giving is its natural overflow. It loves because I first loved it. It forgives because it has been forgiven a debt it could never repay. It serves not to be seen, but because it has seen me, the servant king, washing feet. The action is the same, a gift given, a prayer prayed, a kindness shown, but the inner world is galaxies apart. One is a closed loop around the self. The other is an open channel from my heart to the world. This is the transformation. Your identity shifts from consumer to conduit, from owner to image bearer. You are no longer a cup, anxiously trying to keep itself full. You become a section of pipe in a vast, eternal aqueduct. Your purpose is not to hold the water, but to let it flow through you to the next parched section of the line. The pipe does not own the water. It is honored to carry it. And in the constant flow, the pipe itself is kept clean, cool, and useful. Your joy becomes the joy of the flow itself, not the accumulation of drops. How do you know which posture your heart is in? Ask yourself the quiet questions. After I give, do I find myself waiting, consciously or unconsciously, for a response or return? Do I feel a sense of deflation or resentment when my effort goes unnoticed? Is my private obedience fueled by a fear of punishment or a hope for later compensation? Do I serve joyfully when no one but me and you will ever know? If the answer is yes, do not despair. Do not condemn yourself. Simply bring that transactional heart to me. Expose it to my light. Say, Father, I see this in me. I confess I have been treating our relationship like a business deal. Forgive me. Transform my heart. My light is not for shaming, but for healing. I will begin to unwind the knots of that old contract. The path to a transformed heart is paved with received grace. You cannot manufacture selflessness. You can only submit to being loved until you are so secure in my affection that you no longer need to barter for the affection of others or the favors of fate. Spend time receiving before you strive in giving. Sit in the silence of my acceptance. Let my word wash over you, not as a list of commands to earn my love, but as love letters from a father already enthralled with you. Then, practice giving as an act of worship, not commerce. The next time you feel prompted to give, to encourage, to serve, pause for a second. Redirect the act. Don't offer it to the person. Offer it to me, for the person. Whisper, Jesus, this is for you. I love you, and I offer this act as a love gift to you, using my brother-sister as the occasion. This changes everything. The person becomes the altar upon which you lay your offering to me. Their response becomes irrelevant to your reward, because your reward is the intimate act of worship itself, the unseen blessing of closeness with me. This is what Mary did when she broke the alabaster jar. The disciples saw waste, a foolish transaction with no calculable return. But she was not transacting. She was worshiping. She was pouring out love for love himself. And I declared that her act would be told forever, not as a transaction, but as a monument to transformative love. My child, let your heart be transformed. Move from the exhausting math of give and get to the liberating music of receive and overflow. Let your life become less about claiming blessings and more about becoming a blessing, until the very essence of your being is an unseen blessing to the world around you. My precious one, we have spoken of the unseen realm and the transformation of the heart. Now we must confront one of the most beautiful and terrifying truths of my kingdom, the divine paradox. This is a truth that turns human wisdom on its head, that dismantles every instinct of self-preservation, and yet holds within it the key to the very life you are desperately searching for. It is this: whoever seeks to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. This is not a suggestion for spiritual elites. This is the fundamental law of entry into the abundant life I have for you. Your entire being is wired for self-preservation. From the moment you drew your first breath, an instinct has whispered, protect yourself, promote yourself, provide for yourself. Your life is what you can accumulate, defend, and display. This instinct builds a fortress around your soul. You stockpile achievements for security, relationships for validation, possessions for comfort, and control for peace. You are trying to save your life, to create a self-made, self-sufficient, self-defined existence that feels safe and significant. But I tell you the truth. This fortress you are building is not a sanctuary. It is a tomb. The more you succeed in walling yourself in, the more you wall yourself off. From me, from others, from your own true destiny. The life you are so frantically trying to save is the small false self, the ego, the persona, the identity built on sand. And in your efforts to save this constructed self, you are losing touch with the eternal true self I created you to be. You are losing the very essence of your life. Joyful communion with me, self-giving love for others, and the fearless freedom of a child who knows their father holds the world. The divine paradox invites you to a radical, counterintuitive act. To lose this lesser life, to lay down the project of self-preservation, to willingly, even joyfully, surrender your right to yourself, your plans, your reputation, your comfort, your control. This feels like death, because it is. It is the death of the ego. It is the taking up of your cross. The cross is not a symbol of hardship. It is the instrument of voluntary surrender. It is the place where you say, "Not my will, but yours be done." And you nail your self-will to the wood, trusting that my will for you is resurrection. What does it mean to lose your life for my sake? It is not about self-hatred or seeking martyrdom. It is about transferring the title deed of your life from your own name to mine. It is about living every moment, making every decision, spending every resource with one primary question. Jesus, how can this moment be for you? How can this act serve your kingdom, reflect your character, or fulfill your purpose? It is losing your life as an independent, self-governing project and finding it again as a beloved integral part of my eternal story. This is the great exchange. You give me the fragile, anxious, striving life you've been trying to manage. And I give you back my life, the resurrected, eternal, abundant life of Christ to live through you. You lose the burden of being your own God. You find the freedom of being my cherished son or daughter. You lose the exhausting labor of building your own kingdom of sand. You find the exhilarating privilege of collaborating in my unshakable kingdom. You lose the loneliness of the fortress. You find the belonging of the family. You lose your small story. You find your role in the grand narrative. Look at the life of my son. He is the perfect embodiment of this paradox. He did not cling to his rights as God. He emptied himself. He lost his heavenly glory, his rightful honor, his very life, surrendering it all to my will. And what did he find? He found the joy set before him. He found the redemption of the world. He found a name above every name. He found you. His loss was the gateway to infinite, eternal gain. And he calls you to walk the same path, the path of the seed. Unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much fruit. Your life as a single self-contained seed is safe, solitary, and sterile. But to become what you are truly meant to be, a life that nourishes many, a presence that shades and shelters, a beauty that points to the Creator, you must fall into the ground. You must allow the hard shell of your self-protection to be broken open by the pressures of love and obedience. You must be buried in the dark soil of surrender, where you cannot see the outcome. This feels like utter loss. But in that dark place, I am at work. The shell cracks, and the true life within, the eternal life I placed in you, begins to grow. It pushes down roots of trust and pushes up shoots of new purpose. What emerges is no longer a solitary seed, but a living plant, yielding a harvest that feeds generations. You lose your solitary existence to find your connected, fruitful, eternal purpose. So today, my beloved, where are you trying to save your life? Where are you white-knuckling control, clutching your reputation, hoarding your time, or defending your rights? That is the very place I am asking you to practice the paradox, to lose it, to open your hand, to say, "Here, Father, I release this to you. I choose to trust that your will for me is better than my plan for myself." Do not be afraid of this loss. The life you are losing is not worth keeping. The life you will find in me is beyond your wildest dreams. It is a life of peace that needs no defending, of love that casts out fear, of purpose that transcends circumstance, of an identity that cannot be shaken because it is rooted in my I am. The paradox is real. The cross is necessary. The resurrection is certain. Lose your life. Find it in me. This is the path to the deepest, most unseen blessing of all. The blessing of becoming who you were always meant to be. My beloved child, now that we have stepped into the paradox of losing to find, I must teach you a new language. For if you try to understand my rewards with the vocabulary of this world, you will forever misunderstand my heart. You live in a culture that speaks the language of quantity, speed, and visibility. It measures success in numbers, bank balances, followers, square footage, titles. It measures impact in noise, applause, trends, viral moments. It measures reward in immediacy, quick returns, instant gratification, overnight success. This language is not evil, but it is profoundly limited. It is the language of the temporary. But I speak the language of eternity. My metrics are different. My scales weigh different things. My applause sounds in a different frequency. Today, I want to teach you the syntax of heaven, the grammar of my kingdom, so you can correctly interpret the blessings I am pouring into your life. Blessings that often go unrecognized because they don't translate into the world's dialect. First, know this. I measure by faithfulness, not by fame. The world celebrates the one who stands on the stage. I celebrate the one who built the stage in obscurity. The world memorializes the victor of the battle. I memorialize the intercessor who wept in the secret place, whose prayers shifted the unseen realms and made the victory possible. A single mother who prays with her children, a worker who does his job with integrity when no one is watching, a believer who loves their difficult neighbor for decades without recognition. These are the giants in my kingdom. Their reward is not a headline, but a crown of righteousness reserved for those who long for my appearing. Their faithfulness in the small things is, in my language, the substance of great reward. Second, I measure by character, not by comfort. The world believes that blessing equals ease, that my favor is proven by a life free from pain. But I speak a deeper truth. My most profound work is often done in the crucible of pressure, in the fire of trial, in the darkness of waiting. Why? Because in these places your character is refined, your faith is purified, your love is tested and proven genuine. The world sees a season of hardship and calls it curse. I see a season of pruning and call it preparation for greater fruitfulness. The reward for enduring with patience, for choosing joy in sorrow, for maintaining integrity under pressure, is not necessarily a change in circumstance. It is the unshakable character that emerges, a character that mirrors my son's. This character is an eternal reward, a piece of your soul forged in glory that you will carry forever. Third, I measure by eternal impact, not by earthly applause. You may pour yourself into a work that yields little visible fruit in your lifetime. You may speak truth that is rejected, sow seeds that seem to fall on rocky ground, love people who never change. The world would call this a waste. But I measure by a different timeline. A seed sown in tears may germinate in a great-grandchild's heart. A word of truth spoken in love may echo in a soul decades later, leading them home. Your unseen obedience creates ripples in the eternal realm that will manifest in ways and times you cannot fathom. Your reward is the certain knowledge that no act of love is ever lost, no prayer is ever wasted, no tear is ever forgotten in my economy. You are building with gold, silver, and precious stones, materials that will survive the fire of eternity. Fourth, I measure by the posture of the heart, not the size of the gift. The world marvels at large donations and grand gestures, and while I see and honor sacrifice of any size, my eyes are fixed on the heart behind the gift. The widow's 2 mites thundered in heaven with a sound louder than the clanging coins of the rich. Why? Because her gift was measured not by its monetary value, but by its percentage of trust. It was all she had. It represented her entire dependence on me. Your small, secret act of kindness, done with a heart bursting with love for me, registers on my scales as a weight of glory. The cup of water given in my name, the silent prayer for an enemy, the forgiveness offered from a wounded heart. These are the currencies of heaven. Their reward is the intimate smile of your Father who sees in secret. My beloved, this is why you must learn my language. If you evaluate your life by the world's metrics, you will constantly feel either prideful in success or despondent in seeming failure. You will misinterpret my silence as absence, my pruning as punishment, my hidden preparations as inactivity. But when you learn to read your life with the lexicon of heaven, everything changes. That season of waiting becomes a hidden entry in your ledger of faithfulness. That rejection becomes a badge of honor, proving you are serving me and not human approval. That quiet, ordinary day of doing the right thing becomes a day of magnificent, eternal construction. The peace you feel after choosing forgiveness becomes the immediate, tangible reward of obedience. The joy that bubbles up when you serve unnoticed becomes the dividend paid directly to your spirit. Your life is not a stock chart to be analyzed daily. It is a masterpiece being painted across the canvas of eternity. I am the artist. You are both the brush and the beloved subject. From up close, you may see only a stroke of gray or a patch of shadow, but I see the whole picture. I know how this stroke of patience connects to that splash of joy. I know how this season of hiddenness adds depth to the coming revelation of glory. So today, put down the world's report card. Stop asking, "What did I achieve?" and start asking, "Was I faithful?" Stop asking, "What did I get?" and start asking, "Did I love well?" Stop asking, "How am I perceived?" and start asking, "Was I pleasing to my Father?" When you align your values with my metrics, you begin to see the unseen blessings everywhere. You realize that my greatest rewards are not things I give you, but who I become in you and through you. The reward is Christ in you, the hope of glory. The reward is a heart at peace. The reward is a spirit that knows its home. This is the language of heaven. Learn to speak it. Learn to hear it. For in its accents, you will finally understand the full symphony of my love for you. My precious one, come and sit with me in the quiet. I want to show you the most secure, most generous, and most overlooked investment plan in all of existence. While the world's markets rise and fall with the tides of fear and greed, while earthly treasures are consumed by moth and rust, there exists a portfolio that never crashes, a trust fund that never devalues, and an equity that compounds for all eternity. This is the silent accrual of a selfless heart. Every unseen act of love, every secret prayer, every surrendered tear, every choice for integrity, these are not lost moments. They are deposits. They are building a wealth in the unseen realm that is yours forever. You must understand, your life is a dual citizenship. You operate in the visible economy of earth, but you are a shareholder in the invisible economy of heaven. In the visible, you earn wages, pay bills, and see immediate transactions. But in the invisible, a different kind of accounting is happening. With every motive purified by love, with every action aligned with my will. You are not just living a moment, you are transferring capital from the temporary realm into the eternal. You are converting the currency of time into the currency of glory. Think of it as building a house. The world sees you laying bricks in the heat of the day, the daily tasks, the acts of service, the quiet endurance. These bricks seem ordinary. Some are laid in joy, some through tears. But what you cannot see is that each brick, when laid with a heart turned toward me, is not made of clay. It is transformed in the unseen. It becomes a living stone, infused with the light of my presence. Each brick of forgiveness becomes a cornerstone of peace in your eternal dwelling. Each brick of patient endurance becomes a load-bearing wall of unshakable character. Each brick of secret generosity becomes a window through which my glory will shine for all eternity. You are not just getting through the day. You are, with every loving choice, architecting your forever home. This is why the size of the visible action is irrelevant. The widow's 2 coins were a small brick in the world's eyes. But in my economy, their value was measured by the faith and surrender they represented. A brick of solid gold in the walls of her eternal testimony. Your small, hidden yes to me today may feel insignificant. But in the silent accrual, it is a precious stone, carefully placed. A lifetime of these yes moments, these unseen obediences, these quiet faithfulnesses, builds a mansion of light. This is the treasure in heaven I speak of. It is not a vague, distant reward. It is the very substance of your eternal identity and dwelling, built by the daily investments of your surrendered heart. This accrual happens most powerfully in the secret place. When you pray behind a closed door, you are not just speaking to the air. You are making a deposit in the bank of heaven, and the interest rate is my own faithfulness. When you fast in secret, turning your hunger toward me, you are not just skipping meals. You are converting physical lack into spiritual equity, trading temporary sustenance for eternal nourishment. When you forgive someone who will never know, you are not just being noble. You are liquidating a debt of bitterness and converting it into a vast holding of peace in your soul's portfolio. The world's ledger shows a loss. Heaven's ledger shows a monumental gain. This understanding changes how you view delay and obscurity. You may feel your investments are yielding no visible return. You may feel you are laboring in a hidden field, unseen and unthanked. But I tell you, the silent accrual during these seasons is often the most potent. It is in the dark soil of obscurity that roots grow deep. It is in the quiet factory of faithfulness that the most durable materials for eternity are forged. A tree that grows slowly in a hidden forest develops a denser, stronger grain than one forced in a hothouse. Your character, your faith, your capacity for love, these are the true assets, and they appreciate in value in the unseen places. So how do you participate consciously in this silent accrual? First, acknowledge the transaction. With each act of selflessness, pause for a second in your spirit. Say, Father, I offer this to you as a deposit in eternity. I trust you to receive it and multiply it according to your perfect will. This turns a mundane moment into a holy transaction. Second, value the unseen ledger. At the end of the day, don't just review your to-do list. Review your heart's investments. Thank me for the grace that allowed you to be patient, to be kind, to resist gossip, to pray for an enemy. Celebrate these unseen gains. They are your true wealth. Third, live with an eternal ROI in mind. ROI, return on investment. The world's ROI is measured in money, fame, or power. Your ROI, as my child, is measured in glory. My glory reflected in you, and the glory of souls touched for eternity. Make decisions based on this eternal return. Choose the path that builds the most eternal equity, even if it builds the least earthly capital. My beloved, do not grow weary. Do not let the enemy convince you that your hidden faithfulness is worthless. He is a thief who wants you to cash out early, to abandon the long-term investment for a short-term, visible payoff. But you are building for a timescale that has no end. Every time you choose love over pettiness, you buy shares in the eternal enterprise of heaven. Every time you worship in pain, you earn dividends of joy that will mature in my presence. Every time you give without recognition, you are increasing your stake in the kingdom that cannot be shaken. The silent accrual is my promise to you. Nothing done in love is ever wasted. Nothing offered in faith is ever lost. It is all being gathered, accounted for, and compounded with grace upon grace. You are richer than you know. Your selfless heart is building an inheritance that will awe you for all eternity. So keep building, my wise investor. Keep laying the bricks of today with eternity in view. The mansion you are crafting in the unseen will one day be your home, and every sacrifice will be transformed into a room filled with my light. My precious child, we have spoken of the silent accrual, the building of eternal equity in the unseen. Now I must unveil for you a dimension of my blessing that is often misinterpreted, often overlooked, and yet is one of the most tangible fruits of a selfless heart. This is the realm of unseen protection and provision. I am not merely a rewarder of good deeds in the distant future. I am a protector and provider in the present moment. But my methods are often cloaked, my provisions often disguised, and my most powerful protections are frequently invisible to the natural eye. A selfless heart, a heart that trusts me enough to release its own agenda and resources, enters into a sacred covenant of care. It steps out of the realm of self-preservation and into the realm of divine preservation. When your primary concern shifts from, "How can I protect myself?" to, "How can I honor you?" you activate a supernatural safeguarding that operates in ways your logic cannot trace. Consider this. When you give generously out of your need, you are not just giving money. You are declaring, "My security is not in this money, but in my God." That declaration is a spiritual force. It dismantles the spirit of poverty that seeks to attach itself to your finances. It invites me to become your defender against lack. The provision that returns may not always be an identical amount of cash. It may be a divine discount, an unexpected gift, a repaired item that doesn't need replacing, a sudden opportunity that brings increase. It may be the blessing of contentment, which is a form of wealth that no amount of money can buy. You looked for a financial miracle, and I gave you a heart miracle, a heart that knows I am enough. That is unseen provision. When you choose forgiveness over bitterness, you are not just being morally superior. You are performing spiritual surgery on your own soul. Bitterness is a poison that attracts darkness, that weakens your spiritual immune system, and leaves you vulnerable to attacks of depression, anxiety, and physical infirmity. To forgive is to swallow the antidote. The blessing may not be an apology from the offender. It is the unseen protection of a heart at peace, a mind free from tormenting thoughts, a body not ravaged by the stress of resentment. I protect you from yourself. I protect you from the corrosive inner enemy that does more damage than any external foe. When you pray for others instead of focusing only on your own needs, you are not neglecting your own life. You are engaging in spiritual warfare on a broader front, and in that warfare, you are covered by the armor of intercession. As you stand in the gap for others, I stand as a shield around you. The blessing may not be that all your problems vanish. It may be that in the midst of the storm, you find a supernatural peace that guards your heart and mind. You are protected from despair. You are provided with a perspective from my throne room. That is an unseen blessing of immense value. Often, my greatest provisions are closed doors. A self-centered heart sees a closed door as a curse, a denial, a failure. But a heart that trusts me sees it as a provision of protection. That relationship that ended, that job you didn't get, that opportunity that fell through. I saw the poison in the cup, the trap in the path, the dead end in the road that you could not see. My no was my provision of safety. My redirection was my protection from a future heartache or a destiny detour. What looks like deprivation is often divine preservation. Similarly, my protection often comes in the form of hidden preparation. A season of waiting, of seeming inactivity, feels like a desert to you. But in the unseen, I am preparing you, strengthening your roots, teaching you to draw water from me alone. I am protecting you from stepping into a promise you are not yet strong enough to hold. I am providing you with the spiritual nutrients you will need for the next climb. The blessing is not the mountaintop experience. It is the resilience, the faith, the character built in the valley. That is an unseen provision that will sustain you for a lifetime. The story of Joseph is a tapestry of disguised blessings. The pit, the slavery, the prison, each was a horrific injustice. Yet, in the unseen, I was with him. The pit protected him from his brother's murderous intent. Potiphar's house provided management training. The prison provided connections to the palace. What looked like a curse was, layer by layer, my provision and protection, positioning him to save a nation and his own family. His selfless heart, interpreting for fellow prisoners, remaining faithful in obscurity, kept him in the flow of my hidden grace. So, my beloved, how do you recognize these disguised blessings? You cultivate spiritual discernment. You learn to ask, Father, what are you protecting me from? What are you providing in this situation that my eyes cannot see? You trade frustration for curiosity. You exchange the question, why is this happening to me? For what are you doing for me in this? Look back over your life. See with new eyes. That illness that slowed you down, did it force you to reevaluate your priorities and draw you closer to me? That financial setback, did it teach you creativity and dependence on me? That betrayal, did it reveal my faithfulness as your ultimate vindicator? These were not merely trials. They were classrooms of provision and fortresses of protection. A selfless heart lives in a state of trust so profound that it receives every circumstance, good, bad, or confusing, as a filter of my love. It knows that I'm working all things together for good. It doesn't mean all things are good, but that I am an expert at weaving even the dark threads into a masterpiece of redemption. Therefore, walk forward in bold selflessness. Give, love, forgive, serve. Do not do it to manipulate my protection, but do it knowing that a heart aligned with mine is a heart that dwells in the secret place of the Most High, under the shadow of the Almighty. In that place, you are surrounded by unseen armies, supplied from unseen storehouses, and guided by an unseen hand. The visible rewards may come, but they are just the confetti. The real substance is the unshakable, invisible fortress of my presence, that you live in every moment you choose to love as I love. This is your heritage. This is your blessing. Walk in it. My precious beloved child, we have journeyed to the summit of understanding. We have mapped the hidden economy, transformed the heart's posture, embraced the divine paradox, learned heaven's language, built eternal equity, and recognized disguised blessings. Now, as we stand on this peak, I do not send you back down the mountain with mere information. I send you forward into your life with a new pair of eyes. This final point is not a conclusion, but a commissioning. It is the call to live in the unseen, to cultivate a daily, moment-by-moment awareness of the invisible reality that is more solid, more beautiful, and more defining than anything your physical senses can perceive. It is to move from believing in the unseen to perceiving it, from hoping for its rewards to inhabiting its reality. You have two sets of eyes. The first are the eyes in your head. They are good, created by me. They see the material world, the challenges, the lack, the pain, the temporal beauty. But they are limited. They see only the surface, the shadow, the temporary frame of the movie. The second set are the eyes of your heart. These are the eyes of faith, of the Spirit, awakened by my Spirit. They are designed to see the substance, the eternal narrative, the spiritual forces at play, and my constant, intervening presence. To live in the unseen is to train the eyes of your heart to become your primary vision, to let them interpret and give context to everything your physical eyes report. The world, and your own old nature, will constantly pull you to live by sight alone. It will bombard you with evidence of lack, with headlines of fear, with the visible successes of others that seem to dwarf your hidden journey. It will scream that what you cannot measure does not matter, that what you cannot see is not real. This is the great lie. The writer of Hebrews defined faith as the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Faith is not a blind leap in the dark. It is the eyes of your heart, seeing and being convinced of a reality that exists in the unseen realm, a reality that is more assured than the chair you are sitting on. So how, practically, do you cultivate this vision? How do you live in the unseen when the scene is so loud and demanding? First, you must regularly still the noise of the scene. You cannot hear the whisper of the unseen in a storm of distraction. You must create daily sanctuaries of silence. This is not optional. It is essential maintenance for your spiritual sight. In the quiet, without input from screens or the demands of your list, you recalibrate. You whisper, "Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. I want to see you. I want to see what you are doing." In that stillness, I begin to adjust your focus. I bring to your remembrance my promises. I soothe your anxieties with my presence. I show you the invisible threads of grace in your recent past. This daily practice cleans the lens of your heart. Second, you interpret the scene through the lens of the unseen. This is the active work of faith. When your physical eyes see a problem, your heart eyes immediately ask, "What is the unseen truth here?" You see a bank statement and feel fear, seen. Your heart eyes look and declare, "My God supplies all my needs according to his riches and glory. He is my provider," unseen truth. You see a broken relationship and feel pain, seen. Your heart eyes look and affirm, "God is working this for good. He is my healer and restorer," unseen truth. You see your own weakness, seen. Your heart eyes look and rejoice, "His power is made perfect in weakness. His strength is my portion," unseen truth. You don't deny the seen reality. You contextualize it within the greater unseen reality of my kingdom and my promises. Third, you celebrate the evidence of the unseen. The fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, these are visible outworkings of an unseen reality. When you feel a surge of patience in a frustrating moment, that is not just you trying harder. That is the unseen reality of my Spirit within you, becoming visible. Celebrate it. Thank me for it. When you forgive quickly, when you feel a deep peace in chaos, when joy bubbles up from a source you can't identify, these are not flukes. They are sightings. They are moments where the unseen kingdom breaks through into the seen world, using your life as the portal. Document these moments. Give thanks for them. They are proof that your heart eyes are working. Fourth, you invest in the unseen with joyful confidence. This is where it all comes together. You write the check to a ministry, not as a loss from your seen account, but as a joyful investment into the unseen kingdom work. You spend an hour in prayer, not as time lost from your seen schedule, but as strategic engagement in the unseen war, shifting atmospheres and releasing angels. You speak a word of life to a weary soul, knowing that in the unseen, your words are seeds planted in eternal soil. You live with open hands because you see with heart eyes that you are standing directly under the waterfall of my grace. Giving is not a risk. It is a transfer from a temporary account to an eternal one, and you can see the transaction happening. Living this way makes you a stranger in the world of sight alone. You will be calm when others panic. You will be generous when others hoard. You will have hope when others despair. You will be steady when the visible ground shakes. Not because you are naive, but because you are seeing a different landscape, a kingdom that cannot be shaken. This is the ultimate reward of a selfless heart, the reward of perception. The reward is not just that I give you unseen blessings, but that I give you the capacity to see them, to participate in them, to co-create with them. You become a conscious citizen of two worlds, with your anchor, your identity, and your treasure firmly in the unseen, eternal one. This is the abundant life, a life connected to the source, seeing the flow and participating in the divine rhythm. So, my child, step out today. Look at your day not as a series of material tasks, but as a spiritual adventure. See the people you meet as eternal souls. See the challenges as arenas for my glory. See the ordinary moments as potential vessels for my extraordinary grace. You are not alone. My Spirit is in you, the very power that raised Christ from the dead, and He is your guide and your vision. Ask Him constantly, "Show me what you see. Let me see with your eyes." The veil is thin for those who know how to look. The unseen is pressing in, longing to be recognized. Cultivate the eyes of your heart. Live in the unseen. For here, in the invisible reality of my love and power, you will find your true home, your true purpose, and the everlasting joy of a heart that sees what I see. Amen.